So this horrible injury at TwitchCon as
With
well.
all of the drama that was going on Twitch for the last month or so, people expected TwitchCon to be a war zone, just this battlefield of blood, guts,
war.
tears, mangled corpses littering the convention hall, fights breaking out, people spitting on each other. But none of that's happened. In fact, a lot of the bridges that were burnt in all of that drama have been repaired. Now, who knows if they've been repaired with bubblegum and duct tape, or if they're genuinely okay with each other now and friends going forward. There's no telling. I guess we'll have to wait and see a month from now. But there has been something that's developed at TwitchCon that nobody expected. Death trap. A goddamn booby trap, like something Wile E. Coyote would have sprung up to try and catch the Roadrunner. Of course, I'm just exaggerating. It's not supposed to be that way. It's one of those like gladiator combat things. I'm blanking on the name of it, so I'm going to sound like a fucking idiot trying to describe it. But it's those raised platforms above a foam pit where you have like pushing utensils to push your friend off into the foam pit, and you win when you're the last one standing. I'll show you a clip of when XQC and Hassan fought each other on them so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
They're not pulling. Okay.
I'm sure all of you have seen these before. I remember playing on these bad boys back in elementary school during field days, so they've been around for a long time. They're tried and true, and they've always just been good, safe fun. But unfortunately at TwitchCon, it seems the organizers really skimped on the amount of foam necessary to cushion a real fall, because a streamer named Adriana Chechik broke her back in 2 places jumping into the foam pit.
Yes, that's
victory there. I can't get out. Are you okay? Are you okay?
She's not okay.
Down by the pitfall. Medic! Gravity. No, she's fine.
Alright, we'll make sure she's okay. Get her out of the pit.
Landed on her tailbone.
Yeah.
Now she lives in the pit now. I kind of think.
Come on, get her out.
You can see that she lands like right on her tailbone and like bounces up a little bit, kind of like that episode in iCarly where Gibby jumps off the ceiling, hits the concrete, and bounces a little bit, which was a real stunt performed by a real stuntman who shattered all of his ribs doing that. So this is a pretty brutal injury here, and she had to go to the ER, and she's now getting surgery in order to put a rod in her back in order to help support it. So an absolute life-changing injury experienced here. And she wasn't the only one. Another streamer dislocated her knee in the pit, and then the person she went there with, Eddybot, the person who fell before her, also experienced back pain, but no like permanent injury from that. I'm sure everyone knows this, but I want to vocalize it again. Back injuries last pretty much forever, or at least they can. Even like minor ones will always kind of rear their ugly head from time to time. I remember a few years back now, I had like some kind of like little bruise or something on my L4. I couldn't sit right without it hurting. I couldn't like climb upstairs without my ass just hurting. And that was just like a little baby boo-boo on my back, and that lasted for months. Had to get PT for it. Had to get physical therapy for like a tiny little back injury. And of course, you can always read about the people that have lifelong chronic back pain just from like really simple stuff like sitting in a chair the wrong way for too long, or like the classic prank of pulling a chair out from under someone and the person falls and then has like some kind of disc contusion or like slips a disc or something. And those injuries, they don't ever fully go away. So this, I have no doubt, will have a long-lasting effect on the rest of her life. So it really is like a pretty serious thing. Just a really unfortunate situation, and I don't think this was a Twitch booth. As I understand, this was a completely separate booth from another organization that was just at TwitchCon. And it seems like they really just didn't know how to do this properly, because this just doesn't seem up to code at all. This cannot be the regulation amount of foam required in these pits, because it looks like there's only like 2 layers of foam cubes there. They just like sprinkled them in like breadcrumbs, and then at the bottom of it just seems like it's a fucking slab of concrete. Pure, unapologetic, unforgiving concrete at the bottom. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of cushioned pad there, which is just wild to me. But what's even goofier is the 0 IQ takes I've seen on Twitter about this, blaming Adriana Chechik, saying it's her fault that she got injured. She did it to herself. She should have known better than jumping into the foam pit. Like, you absolute brain-dead troglodyte. It's a foam pit. The entire purpose is to cushion a fall. They're common at like trampoline parks, carnivals, Like I mentioned in school for field days and shit like that, I have done exactly what she's done, cannonballing into foam pits with no injuries to show for it. I've flipped into foam pits with no injuries to show for it. Even McDonald's, like their ball pits, are probably lighter to land on than this foam pit at TwitchCon. Like the whole purpose is it is supposed to be there to cushion your fall so something like this, a catastrophic injury, doesn't happen. You are supposed to be able to jump into them. The problem here is it's not a foam pit. It's a foam puddle. And I don't think that information was relayed to the competitors here that took part in this activity. It's not an actual like 3 feet, 4 feet deep foam pit at all. You can tell by looking at other videos from the event, when people are walking around in the foam pit, the foam cubes barely make it to their knees. So it's not very deep to begin with. So it's not even a deep foam pit, thus you shouldn't be jumping in it, yes, but no one's going to know that just by looking at it because we're all trained to see a foam pit and expect it to be like an actual real foam pit where it is up to code and you can jump into it, but this one is not. This is like some bootleg shit that was just shoddily thrown together and is genuinely unsafe because there are multiple injuries that have occurred here, and yet for some reason they kept it open even after the injuries. It's not her fault this happened. She expected it to be like an actual deep foam pit, which it was not. And a lot of people have asked me why I didn't go to TwitchCon. Well, it's because they're trying to kill you out there, it seems. It's unsafe to be there. That's not the real reason. I just don't go to conventions or anything, and I'm certainly not fucking flying to San Diego or wherever this is to go to it. I'm afraid of flying in the first place. I'm not flying out there, and especially to be around like a ton of people, which I don't even like doing in the first place, I'm not going. But now the cherry on top is these dangerous, life-threatening booths out here. Like, what's next door, I wonder? The catch an arrow out of midair booth or something? Like, good lord. You know, it's just... I'm sure TwitchCon is a lot of fun and this is just a really unfortunate circumstance here, but come the fuck on. This is so easily preventable if you just had more foam. Just be safer with it. And especially at TwitchCon where all the streamers are like gamers. You know, like, I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the most athletic guy in the world. If I was competing in that, I probably would have fallen head first, like diving in there by accident after losing my balance. And from the looks of things, I would have absolutely just died there. Just would have hit my head on the bottom of it, died instantly. So I just feel like it's kind of obvious to expect things like this. Like, it's a foam pit. Some people like to jump into foam pits. Is this deep enough for that? Probably not. So let's put a pad at the bottom at the very least, or let's put more foam in there. Like, just obvious solutions. I just don't know how this mistake could have even happened in the first place. Now, a lot of people are saying that she should be suing for this. And, you know, I'm not a fucking lawyer. I didn't pass the bar or anything. And I'm certainly not her agent giving her direction on what she should do with her life and her decisions. But I think it is worth mentioning that everyone that went into that arena signed a waiver beforehand. So I don't know if she even could sue if she wanted to. Again, maybe she could. I'm not familiar with the law or anything. But there was waivers that needed to be signed prior to entering into that. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because I think it's very sad. Like, the event overall, from everything I've seen, has been very positive and very overall great for a lot of people. They've had a lot of fun. And like I said, I have no doubt that it's a very fun event, and this is just a really unfortunate booth that's been set up here that doesn't really seem all that safe. And again, I'm not there, so I don't know if there's truly no pad at the bottom of that foam pit. But regardless, it's clearly not a good enough pad if this kind of injury can occur, and this many injuries as well. Because not only has there been an extremely serious one with Adriana Chechik breaking her back in multiple spots, but there have just been a decent amount of injuries in general at that location. So clearly something isn't set up properly if this many people are getting hurt there. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit.
To provide precautions. I don't even know why they allow people to jump in there. Let's make it a healthy without the sense